Hi, this is Nick at Mitzi Sullivan's office here in Decatur, Texas, starting episode 4 of our series Common QBO Errors. And I'm excited about this episode because today we're talking about invoicing and the correct way to match transactions to invoices. This is a very common issue. A lot of people accidentally duplicate their sales by not matching a transaction to an invoice. Instead, they add a transaction and also have an invoice that has already been added. And so it doubles up their income accounts, which creates a big problem and headache as you approach tax season, because you end up having to spend a lot of time cleaning that up. And so I want to kind of go over the correct way to invoice and also show you what an error would look like if you forget to match and instead you duplicate your sales. And then I want to go over the correct way to match transactions in the bank feed to invoices. So we're going to look at two examples. Here at the top of our bank feed, we have a Books by Bessie deposit of $55, and then we have an A rental deposit of $200. So what we'll do is we'll start by looking at A rental, this $200 deposit, and we'll go ahead and show the way that this is often done wrong. And let's start off by creating an invoice. So I'm going to hit New and Invoice, and I'm going to select this customer A rental, which I'm going to add as a customer here. I'm going to add my email, add the customer's email, and then I'm going to select my due date. So I want my due date to be June 12th, which is today. Now let's go ahead and say that this product was landscaping, gardening, and let's say that what happened here is we charged him we invoiced $100 for our weekly gardening service, and in the invoice there is also a message that you can edit if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and leave it. So we're going to say that we invoiced $100 on the 12th. So I'm going to save and send. This is what the customer would see. So this is the attachment in the email. It shows our company's information. It shows what activity and a description of that service we provided, and it shows their rate. Through QuickBooks, customers are able to pay online, or they may choose to send a check or something. And what we have here is the body of the email. This text can be edited as well before you send it, but we're going to go ahead and hit Send and Close. And that's going to record an invoice and also record a sale of $100 in our gardening service. Now, I'm going to, let's say that we actually invoiced A rental 2 times. So A rental, so we had also invoiced them on June 5th for weekly gardening services. So we invoiced them twice, $100 each time, which is a $200 total. So we're going to send them 2 invoices. And as you can see, they made a payment on the 12th of the $200. Now, before I do anything, I want to show you what creating those 2 invoices has already done to our income statement. So let's go to Reports. Let's look at our income statement or our profit and loss. And we want to filter by the month of June. So we'll look at June 1st through June 30th, and we will run our income statement. And as you can see here, under landscaping services, just by creating those 2 invoices, even though we haven't recorded the payment yet, by recording the invoices, we have actually recorded sales. So we have our 2 invoices of $100 each, which is already showing on our income statement as $200 of income. Now let's go back to the bank feed. A rental has made a payment to pay that $200 for their 2 invoices. However, if we do not click Find Match and match this transaction with those 2 invoices, and instead we just hit Categorize, we're going to have a problem. It's going to duplicate that income. So let's go ahead and we'll put this under the gardening, or I guess under services, service income, I believe, landscaping services. So QuickBooks didn't recognize this $200 deposit as a payment of invoices because it's actually paying off 2 invoices in 1 deposit. If we had made 1 invoice for $200 and we had this deposit in the bank feed of $200, then oftentimes QuickBooks will actually recognize and see the correlation there and recommend that you match the transaction. But because it's not recommending that to us, let's go ahead and hit Add. And we're going to categorize this landscaping service deposit, hit Add. And now let's go look at our income statement again. So if I hit Reports and I pull my income statement for June again, you'll notice that we've just doubled our income. So we've duplicated payments here. And that's obviously a big problem because you've now just doubled your income. And if you're doing that for many invoices or most of your invoices, then you're double recording your income, which is obviously a big problem. And as you can see here, we have 2 invoices and a deposit. What we should have is we shouldn't have a deposit. We should have the deposit matched to these 2 invoices. So if you run into this problem, what we need to do is figure out how to fix it. And how do I now go back, delete this, and match it? Well, it's quite easy. Actually, all you would do is you would open up the deposit that you failed to match. And by clicking More and Delete, you'll delete it from your books. So I still have my 2 invoices here. If I go back to my bank feed, I deleted this payment from my books so it appears in my bank feed again. So the real way that I want to make sure and record this correctly is instead of by categorizing it and adding it on, I want to find its match. Now, QuickBooks doesn't think that there is a match for this, but I know that there is, and I know that this client is paying on 2 invoices, so I'm still going to hit Find Match. And for whatever reason, it doesn't like this. Let's move to July. There we go. So that's the reason. My date range was, I guess, not quite caught up, and it didn't see the invoices there. But now that I updated my date range, I have a big list of invoices, and I can apply that $200 payment to these 2 invoices. So as you can see, I've just checked the 2 invoices that I want this deposit to correlate with, and there's no difference. I've selected my 2 invoices. There's a downloaded transaction in the bank feed of $200, which matched. There's $0 in difference, so now I'm going to hit Save. Okay, so now we've gotten that transaction out of the bank feed. So if I go back to my reports and look at the income statement here, we're going to see that instead of duplicating those sales and that landscaping services income account, we've actually recorded it correctly and matched this $200 payment to the 2 invoices. And as you can see, by clicking on one of the invoices, the payment status is now showing as paid. And also, if I were to go look in my invoice list, so if I went to sales, invoices, those 2 invoices are no longer going to be showing as non-payment. Instead, they're going to be showing as deposited. as you can see here. And in my invoice list, if I forget what outstanding invoices I have, I can always go here to view all my invoices. As you can see, we have overdue invoices, we have upcoming invoices that will be due soon. And that's kind of the best way to keep track of all your outstanding invoices. So that is the way to record and duplicate invoices and transactions and then go kind of backwards and fix it. But let's go ahead and quickly go through the correct way to match an invoice. So let's look at our bank feed again. We have this transaction of $55 that we received, it's saying as July 12th from Books by Bessie. So we don't currently have an invoice for that, but let's go back in time for a minute. And I'm going to create a customer here and send that customer an invoice. So we're going to go ahead and say that gardening was our service. We're going to put the rate as $55. Okay. If we want to, we can kind of spice up this message and we can make it more personal and say, "Hi, Bessie. Thank you so much for your business, and have a great day. We enjoy working on your garden." Just to make it a little more personal. And then I'll even add my name there at the bottom. In invoices, I'm going to also mention, I'm going to move my screen for a second here. We have this option to add attachments. So sometimes if a client signs an engagement letter or you'd like to add any kind of receipt or anything like that for products you purchased to complete the job, you could add attachments here to an invoice as well. But I'm going to go ahead and send and close this. Here's their invoice for $55. We have the due date set as July 5th, 2020. So I'm going to send and close. Now let's go back to actually here we are in our bank feed. And as you can see, the Books by Bessie transaction is not showing here at the top. It does not auto add to the books, but one thing it does do is QuickBooks sees this invoice in the $55 around the same date, and it recognizes that this is likely a payment on that $55 invoice. Now again, the reason why that didn't happen for the A rental example is that I had two invoices that we were matching with one deposit. Whereas in this example, we have one invoice and one deposit that match. So QuickBooks has a way of guessing that it is likely a payment on that invoice. And so this is nice because it's kind of hard to mess this up when someone pays on time for an invoice for the exact amount of one invoice. And as you can see, QuickBooks is already wanting you to match this $55 deposit to invoice 1040. So we want to make sure to match it and not to categorize it. So we will instead just hit match. So now if I go to my income statement report, if I go to my profit and loss, and that was for July, so we want to look at the month of July. We will see, and you know what? I think the service was completed in June, so let's actually run through June. Yeah, there we go. So the landscaping services are showing as $255, which are the A rental deposit, plus the Books by Bessie deposit of $55, which if we look at that transaction, it's just showing the invoice, but it's showing that the transaction is being matched to it and that we paid this invoice. And again, just as a reminder, you can always go to sales and click invoices and keep track of that. And as you can see, the $55 Books by Bessie invoice has been paid and deposited into the books. And that's all I have on invoices for this episode. Thanks again for watching. If you have any question on QuickBooks, would like any consulting, tax preparation, financial statement preparation, or any other accounting services, please let us know. You can give us a call, you can send me an email, or you can even comment in this video in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a great day.